Hey, good morning, Jacques. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding. I'm talking to Garth Brooks.
Entering his second year as the LSU head football coach.
It was the only way I could get a foot in the door.
Joined by the icon, Kim Mulkey. Hey, Coach, great to see you. Welcome to another edition of Jacques Talk. It is my pleasure right now to be joined by LSU baseball royalty as we get deeper into the month of June. Ryan Schimpf and Mikie Mahtook, both members of the 2009 National Championship team. Thanks for coming down, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Good to see you guys. And it's that time of year, right? I mean, you play all these games during the regular season, but whether it's fair or not, you get defined by what happens in the month of June at LSU.
Yep. It's you know, I like to break the seasons up into like three seasons, right? You have non-conference, which is, you know, you kind of want to get your numbers up and you kind of get a feel for it. Then you got SEC season, which it ramps up a little bit. It's a grind. It's a battle through it. And then you got postseason. And, you know, every season has a different feel to it, right? Beginning of the season, you're excited, and you get through like the first 3 or 4 weeks and you kind of get a little bored with it. You're ready for the big competition. You get that excitement again. You get through the back half of the SEC, and you're just trying to survive through it. And you get to the postseason, and then all of a sudden it's just like energy levels go back up. Doesn't matter all the injuries or the bumps and bruises you had, they kind of go away. And now it's, you know, it's time to go try to win a championship. And you know, it's exciting times for these guys. It was the best times. Now you get a little resemblance of professional baseball.
Yeah.
Because you don't have school. You wake up, it's baseball all the time, and you're with your boys, and it's a fun time.
Yeah, Ryan, because season opener, right, you start, all right, everyone's fired up. It's the first game of the year. Then you kind of grind through some of those games where it's 35 degrees on a Tuesday night, or you be playing McNeese, or, you know, no offense to any state teams, but then you move into the SEC like he said, and now, like you said, school's out, and how do you deal with the pressure, you know?
I mean, I've always said it's just, I mean, from a team standpoint, I've always told everybody, because they'll ask you in February or March, even April, like, what do you think about the team? Are you worried, this and that? I'm like, it really doesn't matter until May. I'm like, no matter how good or how bad it is, there's so many things that could change end of May. I mean, because you're still learning an identity. You know, some guys are going to come out of the lineup, some guys are going to be inserted. Yeah. So, I mean, I think from a team standpoint, how to get through the grind, it's really just, I said it the other day with somebody else, it's just, they were like, what do you remember about LSU baseball? It must have been the national championship. I'm like, not really. It's about everything outside of those games, and that's how you get through the season. It's everything that you do before the games, after the games, training up to those games, and that's how you get through it, is with everybody else, from the coaches to everybody on the staff, but just being with your boys to get through it, because it's truly not the last time, but you know, some of the last times where everybody is truly on the same end of the rope in college baseball.
Yeah, and you have, you know, during the season, it's like, oh, it's a long year. You got time. Then you get to postseason, no more time. You got to go win now. I mean, you saw it this past weekend, right? I mean, you're playing, everybody says, oh, they should breeze through the regional. They got Little Rock, who was a 4 seed, and they go and take care of business. LSU takes care of business. Well, then all of a sudden, you know, nobody wants to give Little Rock credit, but Little Rock breezed. Dallas Baptist was a top 25 team all year, right? I don't know if they fell out of the top 25 all year. They're a really good team. They're the 2 seed, and everybody just assumed you're playing Dallas Baptist in the championship game. And Little Rock, who had a losing record, got hot, ran through Dallas Baptist, got to LSU, and then put it on LSU in the first game. And so everybody was kind of looking at that like, oh, well, they're not that good. They shouldn't be here. Well, it's postseason baseball. Anything can happen. It's do or die. And when you get in those situations, you know, baseball has a way of getting a little funky. And that's kind of what we saw this past weekend. You saw that around college baseball in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you cruise in your first 2 games of the regional, and you think, okay, this is a cakewalk. Little Rock's already had to play an extra game. Their pitching's going to be depleted. We should roll. And then you kind of have a car crash on Sunday night. And all of a sudden, after 50 whatever games, 60 games, we're in a do-or-die situation with Little Rock on a Monday night.
Down
5-1 early. Yeah,
and this is on coming Sunday when you're up 3-0. You start the game 3-0. Everybody in the stands. I'm in the stands. I'm thinking like, oh, this is 8:00 game on Sunday. I'm gonna be home. After the 7th inning, you know, in bed.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the case. And then on Monday, they had to go figure a way out.
When Ethan Fry hits an early home run, it's okay, here we go. But then
Yeah,
they
no,
turn
it's,
right around.
Absolutely, and it's you don't. It's hard to prepare. It's hard to predict how teams are going to react and how teams are going to play in the postseason. That's what makes it so interesting. And Little Rock, they played really well. I mean, if there's a, I don't know if you can, there's a counter on this or if there's a stat on this. I believe that they had the most foul balls in the history of college baseball over the weekend. I mean, they fouled off everything. They forced the pitchers to work, and they played extremely well. And kudos to those guys, and kudos for LSU to figuring out how to win the game.
And here's another thing. I don't know if you remember in 2009 in the regional, we ran into a bump with Southern, and we played them before. And there's something to be said with teams that you've never played before, like in the SEC. That's all you're playing towards the end. You have more information on all these guys, and they're throwing, not that everybody's the same, but they're similar, 97 with this and that. And then you get to, like when we were facing Southern, they threw a guy that was throwing like 76.
Chase Reshore.
Yep.
And he was pulling that
right.
name
No,
out.
you did it. That's a good pull.
And he was carving us up just because we weren't used to facing that for the last month of the season. So
it was 2-0 in the 7th inning. They were ahead.
And I remember Mainieri came and he was like, everybody's taking a pitch to get the 2 strikes just to like track the pitches and get his pitch count up. And he was throwing like 76 or something that we haven't seen. Like he was carving us up.
And then you get the other thing is, it's easy to look at records and it's easy to look at, they're the 2 seed or they're the 3 seed or whatever it is, right? But that same regional, we had to play Baylor. Okay, Baylor I think came in as a 3 seed. But before the year started, Baylor was a top 25, preseason top 25 team. They had all these high expectations. They had lost a bunch of their guys early in the year to injury. Well, a lot of those guys got healthy, especially pitching staff-wise, and that was our toughest game in the regional. If it wasn't for Austin-Nola getting the base hit in the, I think it was the 8th or 9th. I think we're the visiting team, at that time. If he didn't get the base hit in the 9th, I think we won that game 2-1 or 3-2 or something like that. And so, there's a bunch of different factors that go into it. And, some would say sometimes it's harder to win a regional than it is a super regional because you have an extra game that you have to play.
Well, yeah, and then it's kind of like we see this in high school football playoffs. Sometimes the seeding comes out, and they'll point to a team and say, dang it, they had injured players. They got them all back.
Right.
They are not a 20 seed or a 30 seed. We don't want to play those guys. And look, Little Rock, they came in, their RPI was 243, losing record overall. But apparently they had some injuries. And I was talking to Ronnie Rance, I think Monday. He goes, I'm watching them warm up, and the shortstop is just to first base. And the whole team is like, believe we can do this.
Yep, win-win situation for them. They're not supposed to win, right? So, hey, what do you have to lose? Go out there and play. And they did. They played extremely well and gave LSU everything they wanted.
And that's what still makes your game beautiful yet scary.
Absolutely.
LSU football is not going to lose to Nichols or Southeastern or.
For a little bit last year, man. no. But you're right.
Guggenheim was
Right.
rolling along there. It was close in the third quarter, but that's not going to happen. You can't just run over the other guys,
100%.
right? And so that's what makes this sport unique.
Yep.
And I'm sure Little Rock, who probably has an NIL budget of that,
0.
comes in and says, all right, big shots, you guys are all going to get drafted, we won't,
Yep.
and chip on their shoulder and here to play.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. It's a grind, and kudos to those guys for getting through it. And now you look forward to the Supers here.
Yeah, and look, LSU won, but I think you talked about it, and I was going through it in my head. I was talking to Lloyd Courtney on your show this morning. Would it have been the worst loss in LSU baseball history? Now, before Skip gets here, there's no expectations, so I guess there's no loss before that.
Right.
So everything moving forward, and look, Stony Brook was a super regional. They had a lot of guys drafted off that team. They were a good team.
Right.
Coastal Carolina won the national championship.
Correct.
So I'm looking at that, I'm like, maybe so.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, I don't think that's hyperbole to say that. I think that if had LSU lost this past weekend, and didn't get out of the regional with the type of talent they have, I think that would be a colossal failure. And I think everybody on that team would have said the exact same thing. And luckily, we don't have to talk about that today. And we can talk about how they're going to go and play West Virginia at home.
Well, some things don't seem deserved. Like, Jay Johnson wouldn't have deserved that. Like, there's no guy who works harder.
Right.
It's not like sometimes you say, okay, that guy was sleeping on the job or whatever. It's like there's no guy in America that's going to be more absorbed with this stuff than Jay Johnson. So to lose twice to Little Rock at home, that wouldn't have made any sense.
That would have been an unpleasant offseason for him and the family. Goodness.
Yeah, I feel bad for his wife had they lost that because she may not have talked to him for a year.
Well, that would have been an interesting first 4 years, right? 3 out of the 4 you don't get out of a regional, and then you win a national championship in your second year.
Right, and
kind of all over the place there.
I believe all 3 regionals were if necessary games, correct?
Yeah.
They beat Southern Miss, had to go if necessary game on that one. North Carolina last year, if necessary game, and this one if necessary game. So had they lost, it would have been 3 straight regional losses, but at the same time, a play goes one way or the other because all 3 of those games are tight. You could have been 3 straight super regional appearances instead of 3 straight regional losses. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, it's like last year they're thinking, if they would have hosted a regional against West Virginia, we don't know what would happen, but the average fan says LSU wins.
Right.
So you're on the verge this year doing it, so could you be that close away from 3 straight trips to Omaha?
Exactly.
Right.
Or,
And that just shows you how good, I'm dealing with right now with a totally different level with 8-year-old baseball. But it just shows you, how the sport has changed.
Yeah.
I mean, guys are so good now to where it's guys get missed here and there, and you can go to this school, then jump to the next school, you have a good year. But guys are so good no matter where they are because they have so much more
information,
technology, and they're playing more, they're training more.
Right.
Baseball's hard now.
No,
not that it wasn't before, but
it's
tough.
The parity in college baseball is unlike we've ever seen.
Well, you skip 1 to 5 in 10 years, and no one says it was easy, but certainly because he started doing this and fans started showing up, hey, we can do this too, 100%. Right?
And then NIL changes the game even more.
Right.
So it's, you can credit Skip and Ron Polk. Those 2 guys really were kind of like the godfathers of college baseball and kind of growing the sport. And then it just hit another level whenever they SEC started getting better, and then NIL and transfer portal and all that stuff. So now baseball's just, in the draft, Major League Baseball draft, the way that's restructured, now there's only 20 rounds instead of 50 rounds.
Yeah.
And, hard slots, and now with NIL, so now you're not passing up on as much money in the draft. Maybe you get drafted, in the 9th round out of high school, but instead of signing for $400,000, you can go somewhere in college and get $300,000 NIL deal. So now there's no money that you're missing out on. So you're getting more talent to come to college, and you're seeing the results of that with the way the teams are performing.
Well, I just see these guys play and get on the bus and whatnot. I'm not around them all the time. But it seems like even in this era now where you're concerned about egos and me over team and those kind of things, I don't think I sense that from this LSU team. I don't think I sense prima donnas, guys are going to tap out. They seem to all be kind of bought into the mission.
Yeah, and with our show with Mic'd Up, we've been fortunate to build a really good relationship with Jay, and he comes on our show every week, and then we've built really good relationships with all the players. So we usually get a player interview throughout the week, and Jay, and the common theme for all these guys coming into the studio and having these conversations with us is that the feel and the chemistry and the togetherness in this team is way different than it was last year. Very similar to 2023. Everybody's pulling the same side of the rope. Everybody hangs out with everybody. And in 2009, that was, I think, we had a really good team, really talented team. I think we counted, I think there's 9 or 10 guys that made it up to AAA. Yeah. 6 guys made it to the big leagues off our 2009 team. But more than that, it was off the field together, right? Schimpf was 2 years old. He was a junior. I was a freshman. We had seniors. We're all friends still, right? And I think that was the big reason why you go and win. It's not just talent. It's, hey, are you going to fight for the guy next to you type of thing.
You still got a group text with 30 guys in it, or what?
Yeah.
We do. It's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
I got to think silence because it's just it's
once it starts getting cooking, it's you look back and you got 600 messages. You're just like, damn, I don't have time for that.
But that's a beautiful thing, what we're saying earlier about college. It's it's one of the true last times, in pro ball, you had your boys. But, it does get individualized. I'm trying to go here, I'm trying to go there. It's the last pure time where it's just you're with a group of guys for one common goal. And if you're not, you're probably going to get weeded out at some point.
Yep. Yep.
Well, hadn't it changed where the onus used to be on you, Ryan Schimpf, you, Mikey Mahtook? You want to play here? You better prove that you can be an LSU Tiger,
Right.
you know. And then you go through it's like the movie Rudy, right? I'll do anything to run out of that tunnel, you know.
Right.
I'll be a tackling dummy for 3 years. But now it seems like more of the onus is on to LSU to prove, hey, you should come here with the NIL to an extent.
Yeah, that's changed a little bit. But, you know, at the same time, the good teams, yeah, like you want to get your NIL money and you want to get that stuff and you want to get to the big leagues. That's all true. But the good teams still have that chemistry and that togetherness. And look, at the end of the day, you know, it's always in the back of your mind, you're always wanting to perform well, right? Whether it's for yourself or for the team. But when you're trying to do it for the team, hey, I just need to get this guy over. I need to, you know, I'm going to play. He's a second baseman. I'm going to play left field for a national championship team this year because that's our best way to win. Usually when you do that and you commit to the team aspect of it, your numbers are going to be better than they would have been had you focused strictly on your numbers, right? And so I think that's a sign of a good team.
Yeah, I mean, and even like, I'm sure it's a lot harder now with the NIL stuff. So yeah, I'm sure you get a little bit of that. But yeah, the good teams, like no matter what you're getting NIL or whatever, like you're going to LSU because LSU is a great program. But then once you get there, like no matter how much money you're making or whatever endorsements, like you still have to buy in because at the end of the day, everybody wants to go to the next level. But if you don't become a team player and move the guys over and produce and help them win, like it's not going to get you to the next level. So you still have to be a team player and form that bond or it's not going to work out.
Yeah, and you still got your Louisiana guys like Cade Anderson and Kason Evans. This is the dream.
Yep.
And
Jake Brown.
Which that's important. That's huge.
Yeah, like Jake Brown, I mean, you know, I talked to his dad.
Ethan Fry.
He loves LSU.
Yeah.
Ethan Fry, like those guys, like it's a different feel when you're from here and you grew up watching LSU and this is where you want it to be.
Well, postseason ball in June. Heroes, right? We need, and I don't think it's an overstatement. I mean, Kason Evans saved the season with his performance the other night because early on they gave up 5 runs. They're kind of discombobulated. The ball's kind of bouncing all over the place. What's going on the infield? He steps in 12 strikeouts in 6 innings and then 8 strikeouts in a row.
I think it was 9.
9.
Because it was. I think the record was 8. Ben McDonald had the record and he broke the record with 9. I mean, as a freshman, to do that in that moment, knowing. Hey, you're kind of like the last guy. Like, you're the last guy that we can really rely on to go out and give us some length. And him to do that, I mean, that's a special, special performance. You talk about, you know, becoming a legend and becoming like, he's a freshman. He's probably going to be the Friday night guy next year. But, you know, to do that right now in this situation, I mean, can't talk about how special that was.
That's why baseball, like college baseball, is so good because somebody's going to step up and make their career or make their name at LSU.
Ethan
so
Fry's
that's what you love
been
about
doing
it.
all year. I mean, you needed somebody, you know, look, the Sunday game, the pitching was an issue, right? Like, you had a bunch of walks, but before you got to that last disaster inning, I think it was the bottom of the 8th, you kind of righted the ship. Cooper Williams, another freshman, comes in there and throws up 3 or 4 zeros in a row for you and puts you in a situation where the offense can go out and score runs. Well, in postseason play, you have to have somebody in your offense step up in those moments. And Sunday, nobody did that, right? You had bases loaded 2 innings in a row. You had runners in scoring position the inning before. All 2 outs, nobody was getting a hit, right? And so when you do that, you get a game like Sunday, and all of a sudden you get mentally exhausted, and then all of a sudden the bullpen falters in the 8th inning, and they give up all those runs again. But had you gotten 1 hit early in the game, I don't believe that they get to that point because I think you take the lead, and then Kason Evans shuts the game out. On Sunday, you don't get to the if necessary game. On Monday, you kind of had a similar situation, and Ethan Fry came up with the big hit, and you saw almost like an exhale from the team. Like, he had bases loaded, he hits a double, bases clearing double, gets it within 1, and then you felt it rolling after that. And it's just, you know, we talked about it in the group text, like, you know, this is where the box magic happens. You just got to pour some gasoline on the fire. And nobody wanted to pour the gasoline until you got the double, and then after that, it was just exploded. Yeah.
And Will Helmers last year steps up in a huge spot. They don't make it to the Super, but you know what I'm talking about. And then 2023, I don't think Nate Ackenhausen had ever started a game.
Yeah.
You're in the losers bracket, and if he goes out there and it's 5-0 in the first, you're not the national champion.
Yeah,
and
that's what you need.
Yeah, these heroic kind of efforts.
Yep.
Ryan, the velocity that the baseball comes off of Ethan Fry's bat.
It's impressive. I mean, he's a big moose. Like, his bat is in the zone for so long, but as hard as he hit, I mean, I haven't seen a ball hit that hard in a while. Those were hammered.
And he works to right center. Like
that's what's impressive too.
And that ball was 117 miles an hour, 117 miles an hour off the bat to right center. Right, that's hard to do. And he's been doing that all year. And he's been one of the most talented guys on the roster. Just injury, and now he's got the opportunity. And he's our best hitter right now in the lineup. I mean, he's the guy that you want up in those situations, and you feel like he's going to come through.
The American dream, right? From a small town. I don't want to say in 2000.
I couldn't even point out Rose Pine on a map.
Where is it, by the way?
I think North Louisiana.
I think it's around north of Lake Charles, I was told, like the Quincy, DeRitter, around that spot.
Okay.
I may have totally gotten that wrong. I don't know. But
You're better than I am. I have no idea.
I went up to Gina, Louisiana, to do a story on Jeray Jenkins, who was a wide receiver on the LSU football team a couple years ago. That was venturing into, where am I? 4 hours away from here, and 4,000 people in the town, and they all had Jeray Jenkins jerseys. I'm sure Rose Pine, it's the same thing. Ethan Fry for president, right? Or for mayor one day. And we had a bear in a tree on Friday. You see the bear in the tree in Baton Rouge? And so it's finally... We had a bear at the plate on Monday.
Yes, we
they
did.
finally delivered, bought the insurance, and so he's been through his share of ups and downs. When you're a slugger like that, right? You strike out. You don't want to strike out, but you go through those stretches. I know they would like to cut that down a bit.
Look, baseball's hard, hitting's even harder, right? Like we've both been through it. Funny story. When I was playing for Tampa, I was in an I think I ended up going 0 for 34 in the middle of the season, right? This was in August. And he actually ruined this for me. So we're playing San Diego, and Ryan's playing left field, and it's the first time he's played left field in the big leagues in his career. And at this point, I'm probably 0 for...
In the Tampa Dome where you can't see anything.
And there's nothing there. It's hard outfield to play in. And I'm at this point probably 0 for 19, 0 for 20. And they keep running me out there, and I hit some balls hard, just whatever. I hit a ball. They didn't really do the exit velo, but 110 off the bat. I mean, I crushed it to left field. Ryan's playing with his back against the wall and lays out on the warning track and catches it. And I'm like, I'm never going to get a hit again, right? And it's just mental battle. And from that, I didn't get another hit for another 14 at-bats, and I finally got out of it. But you go through these ups and downs, and you go through these slumps, and you go through these situations where you're not seeing it well, you're in between velocities, you're trying everything you can to get a hit, and they say, oh, well, just relax. The harder you try in baseball, the worse it gets. And so you can tell, like, he wants it, not just for himself, but for everybody else. He feels it, he hears it, and I wish there was a magic pill I could give somebody and say, hey, you're out of the slump, but there's nothing like that. You just got to kind of grind through it, and luckily for him, he got that big homer and kind of sealed the game for us. And so, he's one of the more mentally tough kids that I've come across. He's gone through it in his career here, and I have no doubt that I think he's gonna right the ship throughout the course of the postseason.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's one person that understands like the swing big, miss big, it's probably me.
Yeah.
Been through a lot of slumps, ups and downs, and it's like there is no magic wand. Everybody can tell you shorten up, put the ball in play. Like, that's not in your. If they told me to shorten up, put the ball in play, like, that's not who I am. I was like, you have to cut it loose. So it's almost like you just have to do less. Like, you kind of have to care a little bit less.
Right.
And then once you get that hit, you could go on fire and hit 4 in 5 games. So hopefully that's what happens to him. There is no magic wand. You just have to really care a little bit less. The more you do, like, no batting practice, no whatever, just roll out there and play. In college, it's a little tough to do, but
well, would we agree that Alex Bregman is one of the best players on planet Earth?
Yeah.
What did he start his major league career?
1 for 36.
Yeah, and at LSU he had a stretch where he could not get a hit.
Yep. Everyone. I mean, Dylan Cruz last year or 2 years ago. Dylan Cruz right now in the big league struggling. Dylan Cruz, in his best year of his entire life at LSU, he went through a 2 or 3 week stretch where he wasn't getting any hits. It's the game of baseball. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. Curiel went through it this year a little bit. You know, he got out of it obviously, but you know, it's part of the game, and it's a matter how you get out of it and how you handle yourself in those moments.
Well, explain this to me. I hear this in the stands. Be aggressive, be aggressive. And then I hear, what are you doing swinging at the first pitch?
Yeah.
So which is it?
Yeah, right.
I think you got to stay aggressive. I mean, I think if you can to get out of those funks, I mean, I think you try to figure out to take one or two positives from what you did, whether it's draw a walk, like that's a huge success if you're 0 for whatever, or if you just hit that squib and get the runner over, like take
or hit a ball in the barrel and it's an out.
One tidbit of success. Sometimes like the barrel and the ball straight at the second baseman like still feels worse because it's like then you throw the pity party.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think for me the one thing that I notice, like you got to stay aggressive. Like when you're in that funk, like the more you try to work the count, the less it just goes. The more it goes against you. Like if you're honed in on, I'm looking for a ball right down the middle. And I'm swinging, like I'm looking for something hard right down the middle. That's the only thing that I've seen with some of them. It's like just taking a few too many pitches. Like, all right, what else do we want besides a fastball down the middle? But again, I don't know the game plan, but you still have to stay aggressive because the more you take, the more it's like you're getting deeper in the count.
It's more of a controlled aggression, right? Like you don't want to go up there swinging at everything.
Discipline.
Yeah, you want to say, hey, this is where I'm at. This is what the pitch. This is where I'm looking for. If I see it, I'm going to let it loose. I'm not going to try to feel for it. You know, put something in the bucket is kind of what I always say, right? Hey, if I'm struggling, I'm going to play a game with myself. I hit a ball in the barrel, that's a base hit. I don't care if it's a hit or not, it's a base hit. If I move a guy over, hit a sac fly, get a walk, that's a base hit in my head. And you got to play those games, and you can't look at the results. You got to look at, you know, what you're doing to help the team. And, you know, when you're struggling and you say, all right, I'm going to see some pitches, it's inevitable you're going to be 0-2. It's just, you're struggling. This guy may have walked 7 straight guys and thrown 14 straight balls, and you're struggling. He's going to throw the 2 best pitches he's thrown all day, and you're going to be 0-2, and you're going to be like, what the hell? Like, what do I need to do to get in a situation? And it's just, you know, you've got to fight through it, and he's doing that. And
yeah,
you know.
and a lot of it goes back to your work, too. Like, when we had Cliff Godwin for our first 2 years, like, he was so good at helping us with a routine that when we went in there, we did the same thing every single day. Everybody had their own individual thing, but you did the same thing every single day. And if you got in a funk, you're not going in the cage like to try to reinvent the wheel. Like you're going with it's the same thing every day. So I think that's a big part of it too. Like just stick with what you're doing. It's going to come around. So that was a huge thing for me, and I know a lot of the other guys.
I remember being at a game years ago, an obnoxious fan just, hit the ball, bruh. Hit the ball. Like it's like beer league slow pitch softball. I mean, you have trouble even seeing that thing, right? I mean, 95, 99 miles an hour from how many feet?
60 feet, 6 inches, and it's not always a fastball. You know, it's not always a straight one. So it's like baseball, and I think it's a you know, it's a beautiful sport, but I think it's a sport that a lot of people can relate to because a lot of people played baseball their entire, whether it's Little League, whether it's high school, and they all played baseball and they've probably had a little bit of success at some point in their life. And when you're watching baseball on TV or from the stands, it looks a lot easier than it is, right? Like you're watching these guys in the big leagues or in college throw 95, 96, 97, well now it's more of 100, 101, 102. And you're seeing them throw breaking balls, and they're right down the middle, and it looks like, well, how did you not hit that? I'm like, well, this ball broke this much, or the fastball looks down the middle, but it also moved. It looks easier than it is. It's hard to do, and you know, I credit all these guys for grinding through it and being as good as they've been.
And they don't do it in college, but if you watch Big League Baseball, that stupid box on the strike zone makes it look very easy.
Very easy.
It's like, oh, how do you not swing at that? Or how do you call that? It's like, when you take that box away, it's way more, it looks way more difficult than what it is.
Yeah.
Like, when it's in that box, it just looks easy.
Yeah, 100%.
When you watch Skenes, did you wonder if he was a human being? Like, in the 7th inning, pitching still 100 miles an hour? Like, how's he doing that?
I mean, when I watched him, it was one of those things, you watch him for the first time. I know a lot of people say this, but it's like, you knew that you saw something with him that you may have never seen before, right? It was one of those guys where, and he's doing it still, right? Like, he's second year in the big leagues. First year in the big leagues, he was the best pitcher in the big leagues. Second year in the big leagues, best pitcher in the big leagues. It's a shame that he's playing with the Pirates because they can't score. Lost again 1-0 last night. But like, he is doing things that nobody's seen. It's not just because he can throw the ball 100 miles an hour. It's not just because he has 4 or 5 pitches. He understands how to pitch. He understands, he can go in, out, up, down with every pitch he's got. He understands how to approach it, and he works his ass off. I don't know if I can say that, but he works his
That's
behind.
fine. It's in the Bible, I think.
Yeah. He works his behind off, and he's a great teammate. And I think all of those combined makes him the rare guy that he is. And you're seeing that right now in the big leagues.
What about Schimpf? So I'm looking at your numbers. Tigers' second leading hitter on the national championship team. You batted .336 that year, 19 doubles, 1 triple, 22 homers.
22 homers.
2009. I'm not going to call you little, but you're not Matt Clark, right?
That's right. Right.
Speaking of, Matt Clark was at the games last weekend.
Was he?
He was in town.
He was playing in Japan for a long time, wasn't he, or something?
He played all over the place, yeah.
Certainly one of the guys that got this thing back on track after,
for sure.
We hit 28 home runs in
28,
08.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Dean hit 25 or something, or right
at
at 20, something
like that.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers, but yeah. I went there.
So you were all College World Series all-tournament team. So what made you a clutch postseason player?
I think, for me, it was the part of me being a homegrown kid. It's like that was the pinnacle of my career. Like, forget the big leagues. Like, that's all I ever wanted to do was play at LSU. And I think for me, what made me and other guys successful in the postseason was just like the mental focus that you have on that stage. It just sharpens, and you have tunnel vision. And the last thing you want to do is let down your teammates and then the fans and the coaches too. As ridiculous as cliche as that sounds, like that's the only thing that mattered to me is I took pride in making the guys who played at LSU and really the state and all the fans, like you never want to let them down. So I think for me is just the tunnel vision. And we were so mentally tough on that team. And I think because of everything that we did in the offseason and then the pressure that Coach Mainieri put on us, because if there was a game to win, like even midweek, if we're down, like Lewis Coleman's coming out the pen to win it. It didn't matter what it is. Like if there was a championship or a game to win, so you could not take 1 second off, 1 pitch off.
Right.
So I think that was a big part of why we were successful, because we cared that much about beating Southern on a Tuesday or beating UNO, like because there were drag-out fights too, some of them. So I think that for me was the biggest part of it.
And you saw it from 7, 8, 9. So you saw it from one of LSU's worst seasons, right? Mainieri coming in there trying to redo it, like rebuild it and try to put his spin on it. And to 08, where y'all were struggling again, you went to that 23-game win streak. Y'all went to Omaha National Seed,
right?
And y'all felt like, okay, now I'm there. And then your junior year, where we had the best team in the country, and it's just, to me, watching it, because I wasn't there 07, 08, it was just, mentally tough because you had to go through the 2 years before, and there's a lot of pride. You felt like you helped build kind of rebuild what we had in the early in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Yeah, 07, 08 set the stage for 09, in my opinion. Like you said, 100%. Matt Clark, and going back to that, it's like somebody said it, one of the coaches that I saw on Instagram the other day said it's like we practice at this level. So like if you practice here and then you're getting to the championship, this game, it's kind of hard to get up there, but we were always practicing at this level. So like the pressure that was put on us during practice, even in situations or BP, was just ridiculous. So when the game came, it was just like the same thing. So that was a huge part of it.
Mainieri told me after fall ball, his first team, he thought they were going to go like 15-40. And the
it was never good enough.
Won 29 games. It was like a miracle. It was like, I think it was Blair Barbier that told me something like, in all the accomplishments in LSU baseball history, all the national championships, the greatest accomplishment in LSU baseball history is Paul Mainieri's first team winning 29 games, because they had nothing. there were some young guys, right? You were young. Blake Dean was young.
We had Dean Ochenko,
there was a few.
Mitchell, Hollander.
Jared Bradford's like pitching every game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had some good guys there. It just was a different time and just really not the culture that he wanted. So I mean, we just got our butts kicked.
There was a cluster of like 5, 6, 7 guys that were crucial to the 09 team, but top to bottom,
Right.
the 35 was.
Well, and I think like not just the guys that played, but the guys that didn't play, like Pontiff, but didn't play as much. Pontiff, Buzzy, McGee, like there was such a huge part of it because they saw some of the dog days and then saw what we were becoming. So that was a huge part. I don't know what we'd have done without those guys because they were the leaders that didn't play every day. So it was a unique dynamic for sure.
It was.
Well, Ron, you've got a unique perspective because you played in the final year of the old box and you played in the first year of the new box.
Right.
So you were there for the UC Irvine Monday night
Oh, yeah.
where it was like,
It was a football score.
yeah, 21-7.
I think so.
3 straight homers in the first inning. I'm trying to remember the order. It was Dean, Clark,
Gibbs.
something like that.
Yeah.
3 in a row, and then you play in the new box. Let's talk about that. Like, how does the player feed off Alec Box, and how does Alec Box feed off the player? We saw it with Cason Evans the other night when he's pitching and getting out of the bases loaded jam and screaming at the top of his lungs, and they're screaming back.
Yeah, I mean, and the old box was special. I mean, it was so cool playing there. I mean, the fans were so on top of you, and we thought it was like the greatest thing ever. Looking back on it, it was horrendous. Like taking infield, I literally like routine ground ball, just slow roller popped up, it pegged me in the eye. The cages were terrible, but that was our palace. So going from there, like, and it was so close. Like we got to be really close with the fans too, which was special in itself. Like you were so close to everybody, and then going to the new box, it was we were riding high. It was unbelievable what we walked into. So yeah, I mean, playing at the old box was special. So I do feel privileged to play in the last one of the old one, first one of the new one, just to kind of see, you feel part of the history forever, just seeing the growth and what the new box, what it started to be built to become, and then what it is now. It's incredible.
Yeah, they used to joke and say that the old box was like an animal refuge because they had like squirrels. I'm sure they had a possum or two.
Yeah.
They had rats. They had birds. They had all these.
Oh yeah.
But we always say things aren't as good as they used to be. No matter we're talking about our favorite movies or music or whatever, and the new box is amazing. But the old box and just the concentration of the fan noise and the quirky fans and all the things that had going on.
Yeah, it just felt so on top of you. And I mean, coming in there to play, I couldn't imagine. It was tough.
Yeah. Mikey, I knew you were a great player, but it just struck me. Your career batting average was .344. I mean, that is a healthy average.
That's it.
344. What made you such a great hitter? And when you look back on your career and you win a national championship in year one, and you don't win one after that, is that disappointing? Or if it was reversed and you win one in your last year, you say, hey, I went out on top, I mean, like Drew Brees, he should have won more than one maybe.
Yeah.
If the last one would have come in his last year, do you feel differently about it, that kind of thing?
Look, there's a lot of things that went into my career of becoming the player that I was. I mean, my freshman year, every at bat, I was grinding through an at bat, trying to get a hit or trying to get on base or trying to do something just so I could be in the lineup the next day. And it was, as a freshman, you just try to find your way and get the experience and do those types of things. And then, you try to do this in your trajectory of your career. And so the next year was, all right, I learned all these things my freshman year. Now I feel a little bit more comfortable. Okay, now let's take that next step. My sophomore year, which I was able to do. And then your junior year, you hope that you feel real comfortable and everything really starts to slow down, and you work on certain things. I mean, if you look at the trajectory of my stance, right? Like my freshman year, I was wide, and then gradually over time, I've kind of got a little bit more narrow, a little bit more athletic in the box, and it's just you learn through failures, you learn through your successes, and you learn through guys that you play with, like Schimpf and Mitchell and those guys, and you try to take little things from them that can help your game. And I think that's really what did it. Javi Sanchez was my hitting coach, and he was one of my favorite hitting coaches of all times because he's going to work just as hard as I was going to work. And if I wanted him to go throw me a batting practice for 2 hours after practice, he was going to do it. And so I give a lot of credit to a lot of other guys that helped keep me, moving in the right direction. And as far as winning the national championship, I'll never trade the national championship as a freshman because the guys that we had, the relationships that we built. But yeah, as a freshman, after you win that, you really think you're going to win 3 or 4, however long you're there. And the next year, we had a really good team. We were number 1 team in the country, I think, before the season started. We had a really good chance of going. You had Ronaldo coming back for his junior year, and Gibbs was back, I was back, Nola was back, Blake Dean came back, Hanover came back. You had a bunch of guys there that were good. You had some freshmen come in, like Mason Katz, and those guys were kind of starting to find their way. And we were 32-6, number 1 team in the country. I think we were 11-4 in conference play, and then Ronaldo got hurt, and it kind of set us all back. And we went through a tough stretch, and we ended up playing our best baseball at the back end. We won the SEC tournament, and then we had to go be the 2 seed in UCLA, and kind of ran into a buzzsaw there and didn't come out of it. And then my junior year, we're just really young. You had, I think we had an all-freshman rotation. Kurt McCune, Kevin Gosman, and Ryan Eads were in the rotation for a little bit. And then you had Ben Alsop, who ended up, pitching a lot. We had Jacoby. We had a bunch of talented guys. We were just really young. And it wasn't like we had a bad year. I think we were 36-20 in the regular season with an RPI of 24.
Yeah.
Like, we should have made the postseason that year. They changed the rule because of us.
Yeah.
I think it was called the LSU rule. I think we're the 9th team in the SEC. Now 14 teams made it to the postseason, right? So,
right.
I think we were playing our best baseball then. And, it was very unfortunate that we didn't win another one and we didn't make a run, especially in, my last year. I really wanted to, make that postseason run. I felt like we were, poised to do it. And but it doesn't, as far as do I wish I would have won more? Of course. Do I wish I had won my last year? Yeah, but I wouldn't have traded winning it my freshman year to win it my last year. And it's just, baseball's a hard game.
Yeah. I think we need to we'll run out of time. It's been great. It's flown by. But you just look at so many coaches, right? I think Les Miles, 3rd year, didn't win another one. Mainieri, 3rd year, unfortunately didn't win another one. 17, they could have won. Sean Payton, I think that was his 4th year with the Saints. They didn't win another one. And we'll see what happens. I think, Jay's a young guy. He'll be here for a long time. I think he will win another one.
Yeah, I think he will too.
Kim Mulkey, her 2nd year, things just fall into place. They win one. She'll admit that we're not supposed to win this, and we do. She may have a better team later that won't win one.
Right.
So it's just kind of the way.
Was it 2013? LSU's team, record-wise, was probably the best team in the history of LSU baseball. I think they had 8 losses going into Omaha, and they went 0-2 in Omaha. That's when the Bregman was a shortstop, and his freshman year. And so you just never know. Know.
Baseball's hard.
Baseball's hard.
Were you surprised Mainieri went to South Carolina? You surprised he did this?
It just kind of caught. I'm kind of off the grid.
You're
with
disconnected.
With what's going on. So yeah, I was surprised, and obviously, I want him to succeed and win. So, disappointed that it was not the best year, but
he's got another shot at it.
But look,
he's still there.
Yeah. So he's going to give it everything, of course. So, you want to see him as a former player of him. You want to see him succeed. So yeah, I was surprised to see him coach again, but. What else? You can only play so much golf, right?
Good for him. I think he had an itch that he wants to scratch, and he has a lot of passion for baseball. That's what he's done his whole life. And look, you give me an opportunity to go coach in the SEC, it's hard to say no to that, and so I don't blame him.
From 2008 to 2017, and I'm not going to count his first year because I don't think Skip Bertman, Jesus Christ, anyone's taken that team to Omaha in 2007. But you go 8 to 17. Was that an insult? I'm sorry, Ron. 8 to 17. He goes to 5 World Series, wins a national championship, plays for another. In modern day baseball, I think that's about as good a stretch as anybody can have.
And some of his best teams didn't make it. 2012 Stony Brook came in here in the Supers. LSU was really good. They probably should have made it. So he had some really, really, really good teams. Made it to Omaha. Had some good runs. Probably should have won 17. A couple different things could have gone differently and probably would have won it. But Yeah, I mean, his career, Hall of Fame coach. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame for a reason, and credit to him.
He ran a clean program. I mean,
He did.
what more can you ask for besides, I mean, yeah, a few more championships, but he did it the right way. He
Has a relationship with all of us, which I think is important.
Yeah, he did it the right way. He was like a father figure to a lot of us. I mean, he ran a good program. So, wish him the best of luck.
Yeah, almost too stringent. Right? Not in my opinion, but it was almost like I heard some people. Well, don't throw him off the team just because he got DWI, or don't, I mean.
Well,
he ran a tight ship.
he
I
did.
mean, it was tight.
We didn't have our locker cleaned, or we had our shower shoes away. We're running. That was when I first got there. It was you had
Just
to,
the
it
little
was,
details that just like some people don't care about. That, I mean, it all played a part.
Yeah,
in our
early on,
success
it's how
that
you do
night.
anything is how you do everything. If I can't trust you to do the simplest things off the field, how can I trust you to do the biggest things on the field? And so that was kind of his motto.
Well, I don't hear many people say this, but every now and then some that tried to discredit him said he won the national championship with Smoke's players. And
That's false.
there was some of them. But how can you even say that when his last year, they don't even make the NCAA tournament, talking about Smoke, and you win the national championship in your third year? How can anybody discredit something like that?
That's a lazy.
It's amazing.
You still got to coach him. I mean, they say the same thing with Les Miles. It was Saban's recruits.
players.
It's like
That's
you
a-
still got to
that's a
coach
lazy-
them and mentor these guys and coach the game.
But Saban had it up and running.
Right,
You know,
right.
They-
That's just a lazy narrative.
Yeah.
Like that's more of like the Les Miles thing. I can get that, but like the program was doing this when Smoke was. That was the reason why Smoke was gone.
Right.
Because the program was going. Not that they didn't have talented guys, but Mainieri put his culture in there, got the guys out that he didn't want in there, brought the guys in that he wanted, kept the guys from Smoke that he wanted to keep, and then recruited the guys to add to it. And can't discredit what he did because of Smoke's players. I think that's a lazy narrative, and he earned everything he got.
Yeah, and I'll say I don't think that they're going to win a national championship if Mainieri stays, but obviously Jay inherited a really nice roster of.
Well, yeah, it goes both ways. I mean, what was it, year 2?
Yeah,
right.
But Jay had to go out and get.
So that was Mainieri's year 2. You could say
year 3 for Mainieri, right? 09.
It was year 3, but year 2 for Jay.
Right.
That's
year 2
right,
for
that's
Jay.
right.
Yeah, but I mean, you had Dylan Cruz, all the guys. I mean, all the guys there were guys that were there before he got here.
But you get Paul Skenes.
Well, that's the big one. You got a couple of transfers to keep, but I'm not discrediting Jay either. Like Jay did.
Yeah,
Jay
we're
had
not
to coach
discrediting
well.
everybody. They both won
Like
championships.
it's part of it. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's amazing how it all works out. Riley Cooper, this guy's overweight, he's terrible, and look what he does. You
Yep.
know, so Thatcher Hurd, we can't trust this guy.
Look what he does.
Ty Floyd can't get past the 4th, 5th inning, so it all gets defined.
Yeah,
from
no
this
matter
point.
who you got, who you inherited or whatever, you still got to make the tough decisions. There's always the tough decisions.
Yeah, you got to get them to play
remove
for you.
somebody, put them in, let them trust you, you trust them. So, like, no matter who you're coaching, like, you still win it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys coming in. They have to get back to the real world and get to their day jobs. So it's with
Appreciate
Mikey,
you.
Ryan,
Appreciate it.
great conversation with some LSU baseball greats. Thanks for stopping by today. We'll see you next time.